Thank you, everybody, again, and I hope you're already having really productive time at Progressive Britain Conference. Let me begin with a warning. This month, we can expect Sunak and Hunt to try to use the economy to turn their electoral fortunes around. Jeremy Hunt will point to the technical recovery from his technical recession and proclaim, all is well. However, I know who I'm speaking to today, a room of Labour campaigners, and you know the reality of what we're facing. You will all have met with people dealing with the panic of a sudden bill they can't pay, or of a credit card bill that never seems to go down. And I know that when you've been out on doors in Britain in recent weeks, you will have seen a country that wants change, a country that needs change, but also a country that is losing hope that change is even possible. That's what 14 years of Tory failure does to you. It's not just the queue of 7 million people on NHS waiting lists. It's not just the 3 million emergency food parcels leaving food banks in every town in the hands of families who've been forced to beg for food. But it's the corrosion of Britain's sense of purpose and self-belief that we feel. It's that feeling of being stuck. Our economy stagnant for over a decade, people stuck waiting when they're sick, stuck on creaking public transport and stuck in dead-end zero-hours contracts jobs. So today I want to make the case for progress. And by that, I mean rising social mobility, creating the opportunity that we have lacked as a nation. I think this argument is needed because young people in the UK are seeing their life chances deteriorate before our eyes. Employment amongst young people is down to its lowest level in a decade, and economic activity, those not working and not looking, is at the highest point on record. Polling by Barnardo's found recently that over half of all teenagers felt that they would have lives that are worse than their parents, and 1 in 10 said they felt powerless to change it. The children of austerity and the pandemic young adults have paid the price, and we know that we did not get here by accident, because the truth is that the infrastructure of opportunity in Britain has been systematically dismantled by Conservatives long before the pandemic hit. And I make no mistake for repeating what they did. Sure Start was scrapped, child trust funds were abolished, building schools for the future was abandoned. It will be the task of the next Labour government to rebuild, a different task than the last time we formed a government. Now, I won't be the only person who knows this, that in the 1990s, things can only get better wasn't just a song. It was something we felt. Labour's job then, with a growing economy, was to channel that optimism into creating a fairer, more decent country. Our job now is much more fundamental. We have to restore that sense of self-belief that change is possible, that politics can work, that things can get better, and our future can be better than our past. We have to fight for the idea of progress. That's what Progressive Britain is for, arguing in favour of modernising our country, and it's what progressives truly believe in. Embrace our country's future, you can spread power, wealth and opportunity to the many. But give in to the seductive lies of national nostalgia, and young people never stand a chance. That's why we have the Breaking Down Barriers to Opportunity as one of our 5 missions for government. And as a progressive, I am determined that we will succeed. Breaking down the barriers to opportunity means understanding them first. And last time we entered government, we had a very clear diagnosis: education, education, education. We reformed our education system and our children did better. Smaller class sizes, better grades. We invested in schools. We had excellent teachers because we knew that there's no better return on investment anywhere than investing in our kids. And yes, we believed that more people should go to university, because we refused to accept the nostalgic argument that higher education should be the preserve of 2%. But the barriers to opportunity in the 2020s and 2030s go beyond education to what happens afterwards, and the barriers people still then face in the labour market. Now, the last Labour government, I think, took on the idea that your background should determine what kind of education you should have, and it defeated it. And the next Labour government will take on the idea that your background should determine what type of job you have, and will defeat that too. Because progressives don't just reform the state to put power in the hands of the many. We see markets as a tool, like the labour market, to give people choice and autonomy. The problem with our labour market right now is that power is still too concentrated and not everyone has the same chances. Not everyone gets a fair return for their efforts. Last year, the IFS published their Intergenerational Mobility in the UK report, and it was absolutely damning. It found that your parents' income and wealth is of ever-growing importance in determining your own position in the lifetime income distribution. Markets only ever work when power is spread widely. And in Britain, there are thousands of people working below their skill level. They're getting even less than their worth, even at a time of massive staff shortages. A government report found in 2021 that only 1 in 6 people working on low pay ever truly escape it. People are trapped by their circumstances, by ill health, by geography, and by a labour market that simply isn't working. And as a result, Britain's potential is being wasted. And this is where we get to the fundamental difference between progressives and our opponents. The Tory response to market failure is always the same. First, they deny there's a problem. The outcomes of the market must be by definition fair ones. The jobs people have must be the ones that they're best suited to, and we should all stop complaining. Next, they blame the state. If the government would just get out of the way, then the market would work much better. And we are progressives because we just don't believe that. Markets can be a force for opportunity and prosperity, but we also believe that we need to mold them, shape them, and spread power widely within them. When I see somebody, as I do far too often, trapped in a low-paid job because they're the only ones that are on offer in their town, or a mum passed over for promotion because she can't get good childcare for her kids, or a skilled worker pushed into a dead-end job because there isn't a college to retrain her, it's not that the state needs to get out of the way, it's that the failure of the state is robbing people of the chances and choices that they deserve. And that's why we need reform. So let me give 3 examples of the kind of reform that we can make. First, let's change our job centres. Because the Tory tick box culture means that nobody goes to their job centre expecting real help. The main objective seems to be getting people out the door, not out of poverty. Now, I think the 16,000 work coaches in job centres can help people find skilled work in the new green economy, and with better pay, we can also make savings to the public purse so that everybody benefits. I think this mission is absolutely crucial in those places where, as well as inactivity, we still have high unemployment and worsening youth unemployment. Centre for Cities have investigated the places that have the highest rates of unemployment, combining technical unemployment with people, as I was saying before, who are not actively looking for a job right now, but nonetheless still want to work. In Barnsley, Hull, Sunderland, Blackburn and Middlesbrough, about 1/5 of people are unemployed by this measure, 20%. If that was the position right across the country, it would lead the national news every night. So we need the combination of our Green Prosperity Plan to build better, well-paid jobs in these towns and cities, and our job centre reform to help people actually get the jobs. No more low ambition from the government. Second, we have to fix our failing childcare system. And I know that Bridget's review of childcare by Sir David Bell will help show how we can get to grips with that broken market that's failing children and undermining economic growth. Breakfast clubs in primary schools give parents of young children a choice of jobs that start at 9 o'clock and therefore more power in the labour market. Combined with our reforms for social care, these changes will mean that families can both care for each other and have a fulfilling life at work. And finally, we need Labour's New Deal for workers. I am all for a flexible labour market, but at the moment, some of our workers are doing all the flexing. We need to restore the balance of power in workplaces and have a reset that will benefit both employees and employers alike, and that means rights from day one. It means an end to fire and rehire. It means updating our trade union legislation so that it's fit for a modern economy. Because in the Labour Party, we don't see workers organising as something that distorts the labour market. We see it as a fundamental part of how a successful labour market works. So that is our task as the next Labour government, if we are lucky enough to be elected by the British people, to make the labour market actually serve British people once again. But friends, first things first, I need your help with a bit of job matching, because I think we have a serious misallocation of talent in my place of work. In fact, I've done a performance review and I have identified 345 colleagues who are not up to the job. And I look around this hall today and I see the chronic underemployment of good Labour talent. So, good news, everyone. It's 2024, and this is the year we get a chance to change it. So let's start as we mean to go on. Let's get the right people in the right jobs, and when this election comes, let's change Britain together. If I were Rishi Sunak and Jeremy Hunt, and I'm not, thankfully, but if I were, with the limited time they have left, I would worry a little less about my electoral fortunes and worry about the fortunes of the next generation. But bluntly, they're not going to take my advice. The current Tory party has put social mobility into reverse. 5 out of 6 people on low pay with no hope of escape. Rising youth unemployment. 4 million of our kids growing up poor. It gets to me. And more joining them year on year. Friends, it is time. It is long past time for us to do our job. We must be the advocates, the ambassadors, and the agents of change. People need hope. And the Labour Party is the vehicle for the hopes of ordinary working people in the country we love, and we must dare not let them down. Thank you.